Dr. Michael Neal. He graduated from Union Theological Seminary in New York City, obtained his doctorate in ministry from the New Seminar with a focus on human sexuality and interfaith studies. So he knows a lot about it. That's why I brought him.
Yay, Mike!
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you. I know I only got 7 minutes to talk about a complicated topic. Now, how do I do that, right? So let's get to the basics. I have a background in human sexuality. I also have, so things don't faze me in my training, right? So if somebody says they get excited over red balloons, you would go like this, right? In the back of my head, I go like that. But here, I'm very professional. I have to ask, well, is it valid? You know, it's flaccid, or is it's blown up? You know, I have to ask these interlying questions. So Camilla said to me, they need to know about LGBTQIA. So I was like, okay, but that's complicated, it's a huge topic. So let's go back to the history, right? So in 1869, a gentleman in Austria came up with labels. Heterosexuality, homosexuality, monosexuality, and heterogenic. Heterosexuality, they were all diseases and paraphilias. So raise your hands if you consider yourself, you label yourself as heterosexual. You've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. There's no such thing. Because you don't question it, because you stand on your privilege and your hierarchy. The definition of heterosexuality is obsession with persons of the opposite sex. It wasn't normalized until 1923. And then homosexuality, it wasn't normalized until 1972. So, I hope I'm not going to offend anybody, but I'm just going to say this, straight talk makes a straight understanding.
Amen.
You are defining yourselves by old white men.
Crickets.
That's just the reality. So when you ask why all these people have all these labels, they have enough sense to counteract the pathology that was created in 1869. Not only that, because in Victorian times, sex was for marriage and procreation, not for pleasure. Anybody who has sex for pleasure was considered below. There was something wrong with you. So when you go into other places, and this is from Europe, and then you go into other places and people are not walking around with clothes because it's too hot. You label them lascivious, and you raise their sexual level to high levels because your perspective is they're walking around half naked, breast showing what something's wrong with them. Then if you're LGBTQIA, there's something definitely wrong with you because you are not adhering to the standard. So now we have all these labels, but understand all these labels are interacting and rejection of the binary. Binary is also westernized, either this or that. That is not the rest of the world. The rest of the world was both and. So you have this continuum of this. There's an acknowledgement of male, there's an acknowledgement of female, but there's also acknowledging what's in between. So that's why you have in certain countries, in certain parts of the world, third genders. You can look this up. Third genders. And then for those who are caught up in the scriptures, again, you have been hoodwinked because you don't know how to read the scriptures. People will say, well, the Bible's very clear. No, it ain't. Because in 2 Kings, of Josiah's reform, he got rid of the male prostitutes that were in the temple for 3 generations. Christianity has done, westernized Christianity has messed up every single person in this room to a certain extent. So this is why we have, so getting down to some of the labels, you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. And questioning and intersexed. And intersex what used to be called, intersex people are people who are born with both gender, both anatomical or deformed anatomical. And before the 70s, doctors determined what gender you were supposed to be, and you were operated on as a baby. So now they're trying to do legislation, they've done legislation so people can be independent and make their own decisions later on in life. There are certain countries such as Singapore and Thailand who are highly effective in transgender surgeries, so much so that gynecologists can't tell the difference because they also start at a very young age. In the United States, you often people have to wait until they're late, become in their 30s. So you already developed, so now you're trying to change that development. So again, this is a complicated topic. I'm getting down to the last minute, right?
Raise your hand.
All right, we're down to the last minute. And like I said, I will be, he has my contact information. I'm willing to have a conversation with you about it. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I was just trying to get to the basics.
So that's me. I went to a lot.